back to Amazon Unpacked, the podcast Amazon does not want you to hear. Today, we're going to be talking about all the messed up ways Amazon pits workers against each other, why they do it, and what we can do about it. Today, I'm one of your co-hosts. I'm Ira, a longtime Amazon employee in one of the warehouses.
Hi, I'm Dylan. I've been working at Amazon for almost 2.5 years now, and I work in the warehouse with Ira.
Hey guys, good to be here talking with y'all. I've been driving for a little over a year now, and I actually was on the other side in the warehouse for about a year as well before this.
So first things first, when I interact with drivers, I can tell they're kind of frustrated with us inside the warehouse. We get that part of the shift where we got to start staging the carts full of bags for the drivers to put in their cars. And y'all are always pissed at us, like already from the get-go. And I feel like there's a whole lot of misunderstandings going on. So what type of questions do y'all have as drivers for us in the warehouse for why things get kind of messed up the way they do?
Yeah, definitely. And coming from the warehouse, of course, I have a better idea of why everything's going on, but I get a lot of questions and frustration from other drivers about certain things, like the one big thing is, why are our routes late all the time? Maybe you guys.
Oh, we have a lot of reasons why they take so damn long to stage those routes. One of them has to do with the amount we have to stage at a time, and then like another thing is the way they do it, they put everyone in the same cluster to begin pick and stage. So now we have no room to move those giant carts around. And then they always expect us to stage them within 15 minutes. But of course, it's the end of our shift, so people are breaking down at that point. So like people are leaving early, but they still expect us to do everything on time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, keep in mind, we're 9 hours into our shift at this point, and then these damn algorithms, they send 13 or 14 of us to like this one little part of the warehouse that, these are pretty narrow lanes, and we're like trying to navigate in and out of each other and carry these big ass bags. And then also leading into this, they send out a bunch of VTO, voluntary time off, giving people who are exhausted the opportunity to go home. So we're like
Without pay.
Without pay, yeah,
Remember.
without pay, voluntary time off without pay. They're trying to get people off the payroll and have a skeleton crew getting those carts out for y'all on time. But then they send that skeleton crew, they send them all to the same couple aisles, carrying these big ass carts, trying to get those bags out. And it is a traffic jam. So understaffed.
And mind you, there's not a single manager that lifts a finger until like they absolutely like need to by their algorithm.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point that, most drivers don't know. The warehouse workers all get there at 1 a.m. By the time we see them and they're staging our routes, y'all have been there for 9-10 hours. Maybe half the shift is left, and the half that remains has to pick up the slack. So yeah, I see y'all. We see you guys walking around like zombies a little bit. There's a reason for that. It's because you guys have been there since 1 a.m.
Yeah, and it's not that half the shift just left because they're lazy. It's because that's by design. Amazon will just flood us with packages for the first half of the night, and they're trying to wear us out so that they can count on, 10 or 12 people taking that VTO when they offer it.
Yeah, and it's also like it doesn't even happen in that one day. This could be someone's third or fourth day in a row doing this shit.
Yeah, that makes sense. Another question is, why are you guys always putting those damn yellow stickers over the addresses and the customers' names? Don't you know that messes us up?
Every time I do that, I know it's gonna mess someone up down the street.
Yeah, it's like it's not done intentionally. It's because when we're inducting those packages, putting the yellow sticker on the packages, they flood our belts with packages to the point where we don't have time to watch where we're actually putting the sticker on the package.
Yeah, and these sticker devices, they're called Averys. They're these printers where as the package comes by, you scan it, and then it prints out the little tab and you slap it on. but the speed at which those printer guns work, it's scan, print, slap it on, scan, print, slap it on. That's how fast the devices are designed to work. And we've had to invent ways to make them go faster to keep up with the volume that they keep dumping on the belts, because the machinery is not designed to go as fast as they have us going. So there's all these creative ways that people have invented to move faster to keep up. That doesn't help all the time, because the machines aren't designed to go that fast. They're not designed to do that, so they start breaking down.
And because we're doing that technique now, we're not paying attention to where we're putting the sticker anymore. We no longer afford the opportunity to just place the sticker where we want to. Rather, we're just throwing the sticker on to wherever part of the package we can, because of the speed we have to go at.
And also the thing about that is the people who are going really fast and probably putting those stickers in the wrong spot and covering up your addresses, those are probably the people who are getting rewarded for being the fastest scanners as well, right? They'll be getting and the fastest inductor yesterday was, and they'll call them out. So people actually get encouraged to constantly be upping each other and going faster and faster and faster, but the machinery is just not designed to go that fast.
Well, when we say rewarding, we get a shout out during our stand-up meeting, but what that really does is their reward is to be put through the same thing again.
Yeah,
that makes sense. We definitely encounter our fair share of broken or nearly broken equipment as drivers, so I guess it makes sense that it's happening on the other side of the wall as well. Last question. Are y'all trying to damage the boxes? Almost every day, when it comes to the overflow, at least one nearly crushed box is at the bottom underneath some Fiji water or some cat litter or something. What's going on? And then the reason why this affects us is if we deliver that box then and it's broken, the customer will report it as our mistake, and then it comes back on the drivers. So what happens to all these boxes? What's going on with the boxes getting damaged?
The majority of the time with those boxes, they aren't even our fault that they're damaged. Sometimes when we get them from the FC, the way they're stacked, they're crushed under a box anyway. We're supposed to take them off the line, but some of the managers force us to just scan and send it down anyway. And in concerns with why some of the oversized team crushed on the carts, it's because when we're picking routes, they don't tell us the weight of the oversized in the order, right? So sometimes we'll have 13 insanely oversized, maybe they're Bounty, maybe they're paper towels or stuff like that. And then out of nowhere, we get 5 water crates. And at most times, because they're rushing us at the point that they're doing that, we don't have time to reorganize our carts. So most of us just slap it on.
That's a good point.
Stack it on.
Yeah, we don't control the order that we get those boxes to stack them on the carts. So to actually put the heavy ones on the bottom, we would have to take everything out of our cart, rearrange it, put the heavy ones on the bottom. And sometimes you'll have, put 30 boxes on a cart, and then the last one will be a 50-pound box. And okay, where do I put this?
Yeah, I think what advice I have for our drivers out there is if you see that box that's crushed on your cart, just send it back, because it's not worth a customer reporting it, that affecting your score, potentially affecting your job. At the end of the day, it's just because the sheer volume of packages that Amazon is sending through its system, some of them are going to get crushed. So it's on us to protect our jobs and our scores by sending those packages back.
From our end, I don't think the warehouse workers know that those damaged packages, those crushed packages, that y'all are rushed as well. Y'all are under pressure to deliver as well. And, if you deliver one of those, you endanger your job, right?
So let's get down to the brass tacks. Let's get down to what's really important here. How much y'all getting paid in there?
Not enough.
Not enough at all.
Not enough at all.
And we're not the best people to ask because me and Dylan have both been here a while. Um, I've maxed out on
Well,
my pay scale. I've been here 4 years.
no, we can talk about that because I think that even though I worked 2 years, like the pay increases haven't been even like remotely worth it
Pay
because
increases.
Well,
What's a pay increase?
I'm making 21 an hour, and that's after 4 years with the night shift differential. I started at 1550.
And so, how does the pay increase system work?
do we still get increases like every half year? Remember that my last half year pay increase was only like a quarter.
Yeah, so supposedly we're supposed to get a pay bump that can be like 50 cents or 30 cents every 6 months. But that only happens for 3 years. After 3 years, you max out. You can still get pay raises that come from like Amazon doing this analysis of what the average pay in this sector is and trying to match that. So you can still get pay raises, but they're not guaranteed, and they sort of, those might be cost of living adjustments if Amazon decides that they're going to give them.
Yeah, for drivers, we don't have, and of course, this different DSP has different benefits and incentives and stuff. But as far as I know, there is no raise with experience for drivers. Me and my few coworkers that are left from when we started a year ago, we're getting paid the exact same as, the person that just started yesterday.
Wait, Don, you just said something about DSPs. So I guess I got two questions. How much are you actually getting paid, and what's you said drivers from different DSPs. What are you talking about there?
Yeah, well, to answer your first question, our pay now is at $20.75 an hour. And on the question of DSPs, DSP stands for delivery service provider. So all drivers, Amazon drivers, that are working for third-party companies, I like to think of them as shell companies. They're basically front organizations that are set up either by Amazon or set up by people that want to work for Amazon. It's basically in each warehouse, there's multiple companies that run teams of drivers. And that's how the DSP system works, basically.
All right, so you'll have in one warehouse, you might have 10 different delivery service partners or delivery service providers, DSPs, and each of them might employ like 80 to 100 drivers. But my understanding is that Amazon actually controls a lot about how they function. It makes them for the most part, drive Amazon vans or Amazon uniforms, monitors them with Amazon, cameras, and it has Amazon algorithms setting their routes. So it's basically less that these are third-party companies and more that it's just like this convoluted, complex legal structure that Amazon put in place to manage these big swaths of drivers, but also keep them sort of legally separated from each other.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I like to refer to them as shell companies, because at the end of the day, we all work for Amazon. We wear Amazon uniform. We deliver Amazon packages. We are Amazon workers. The DSP system is a legal, artificial, fake paper construction that is developed by Amazon there's a few different reasons that we can get into. One, the DSPs function to increase competition and create kind of like a race to the bottom where these DSPs, because they're pitted against each other and in such close competition, they're always trying to figure out ways to cut costs, whether that means by providing less or worse equipment, pushing drivers to go faster and faster, take more packages, skip their breaks. And all that is because if the DSPs don't, then they might get their contract clipped.
Amazon can reward the DSPs that are delivering the most packages faster. They can reward them with better routes or with more packages, which means more money for those DSP owners. And the DSPs that are not going as fast, Amazon can threaten to basically cut their contracts, get rid of those DSPs, get rid of those 80 drivers, and then hire on a new one to replace them.
So during peak season, our warehouse added another DSP going into peak season. So they added 80 new drivers. And then at the end of peak season, they cut the DSP that had the lowest performance. So there went all of those 80 drivers' jobs that thought they were getting a permanent job. Their whole company performed worse according to Amazon's metrics. But, obviously the individual drivers didn't sign up or even know that was a possibility for them.
Yeah.
And the second point, Ira, was the way that the DSPs shield Amazon from liability. If a driver, God forbid, like runs over someone on their route or gets into an accident and gets seriously injured, Amazon can just cut all ties with that DSP and then walk away with their hands clean.
Yeah,
legally.
and it's not only injuries to the public, which happens. It's also injuries to those drivers. Like the other day in our warehouse, a driver slipped and fell, and it looked like he tore his ACL. Well, Amazon's not on the hook for that. That's a DSP employee, even though it happened on Amazon premises. It happened delivering Amazon packages, someone who's basically controlled by Amazon algorithms, but it's a DSP on the hook.
Yeah, definitely.
It's also the way that injury happened. It's because of how unsafe it is to work on this Amazon premises.
Fact.
These are not companies. These are shell companies. And at the end of the day, Amazon realizes that. Amazon recognizes that we are their employees and that we have a direct relationship with Amazon that is mystified by this DSP structure. And how I can tell you with confidence that Amazon recognizes that we are their employees is this article from Vice News. And I'm just going to quote directly from it. Quote, Amazon hired at least 2 union busting consulting firms specifically to prevent its drivers from joining a union over the course of 2022, according to 6 reports filed to the Department of Labor and obtained by Motherboard. This is notable because Amazon claims that the drivers who deliver its packages are not its employees. Motherboard reviewed 5 reports filed with the Department of Labor, which showed that Amazon spent more than $14.2 million on anti-union consulting in 2022. Of that, $160,000 went to Optimal Employee Relations and Action Resources, who in their own reports specifically referred to drivers as the target group of their persuasion.
So basically, Amazon says the drivers are not Amazon employees, but then spends millions of dollars trying to prevent those drivers from unionizing. This DSP structure, so it divides drivers against each other. It also divides warehouse workers against drivers. And that also has ramifications for like when workers want to organize for, we were just talking about pay, and warehouse workers are underpaid, drivers are underpaid. If you compare it to like, the UPS drivers, the Teamsters, the union that operates at UPS, all the drivers are part of the union, all the warehouse workers are part of the union. They're all in that one union together, and they basically fight UPS together for better conditions, for better raises, for better pay. What happens when workers view themselves as, not sort of these separate drivers are separate from warehouse workers or separate from X, Y, and Z? UPS workers, they just won a pretty significant raise after threatening, drivers and warehouse workers together, threatening to go on strike. Were able to win a significant raise. And now, part-timers, which are mostly warehouse workers at UPS are starting nationwide at least $21 an hour. That's what, almost $6 more than Amazon's starting rate across the country. And full timers, they can make up to 40 something, like $49 an hour. I don't remember the exact numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's double our salary.
Right. I mean, that shows you what solidarity, what actually like viewing your coworkers as coworkers, not as sort of these like hostile other people who are like fucking up your ability to do your work.
Right. Yeah, and I think that shows what's really on the table here and why it's so important for Amazon to maintain this illusion that we're all competing with one another, and separate from one another, and have different companies, different jobs. In reality, we just saw what happens when we don't buy into that, when workers don't buy into that, and they instead come together to demand that that the company that the company has to deal with all of them, not a section of them, that they have to be dealt with all together.
And when the company's got to deal with all of us together, it doesn't matter. We're drivers, warehouse workers.
Exactly. And when workers are able to come together like that, then they can get things out of a company like UPS, a company like Amazon, like a $49 wage.
Right.
For drivers, for Amazon warehouse workers, that would mean a life-changing difference.
Before we finish up, something Dylan and I have a lot more experience with than what you were just describing, Don, with the DSPs, is how Amazon divides us up inside the warehouse too. Most new hires are given a white badge and they're told, you're seasonal. And if you're a good worker, we will convert you to a blue badge after 3 months.
I mean, supposedly 3 months.
Yeah. How long does it usually take?
Some people at my old site worked there for almost a year and still didn't get their blue badge.
Yeah, for me it took 11 months. And that whole time they're like dangling it over your head that like, oh, you can get your blue badge if you keep it up, if you keep working some people that day never comes to be converted. And they say when they hire you in 3 months, you'll be able to convert to being a blue badge. And, this sort of breaks down sort of this natural solidarity between workers that are essentially the same. There isn't even a legal difference between white badges and blue badges. We all have the same rights under the law, right? We can all organize to improve our workplace. There's no rights that blue badges have, but white badges don't. But also we all do the same damn work. But Amazon's got these white badges sort of scared that if they don't toe the line, they're going to be clipped. But the fact is, even blue badges can be clipped for no reason, right? We're all at-will employees.
There's also ways that even managers get away with firing blue badges that aren't right. There are some people who, when they take leave and the system just doesn't register it correctly, they take their UPT and put them in a negative.
Yep. Yeah. And then you've got to like fight this weird maze of a situation, call this person, then this person. No, you weren't supposed to call this person. You were supposed to call that person to like sort it out. And most people just give up.
Yeah. And then the managers don't take accountability for it. They just tell you to go through the appeals board or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you get back your job, you get back your job. If you don't, they truly don't try and fight for your job.
And then Amazon also has like all these different color vests. So like you can apply to become a blue vest, an ambassador, where supposedly your job is to like help train the new hires. Or you can apply to be a green vest, on the associate safety committee, which your job is supposedly to call out safety things. And they kind of tell you if you want to get ahead at Amazon, you should be applying to these different positions, but really none of them are paid extra. Usually they just end up doing all the same work. They're not actually empowered to do really anything. And the vast majority are never actually promoted. They just get put in these positions. And, a lot of times, like with the green vest, the safeties, Amazon then uses those to be sort of like safety snitches on other workers, and they'll encourage them like, oh, let us know if you see anyone doing something wrong, and people aren't trying to be safety vests to be safety snitches. They're doing it to like make work better and to like try to build up a resume. But then Amazon just kind of tries to use them as safety snitches if they use them differently at all. And Blue Vest ambassadors, a lot of times they want to like do that position so they can help people learn the ropes. But then Amazon has them, do all the same shit, but also sort of do their dirty work of go, boss other tier ones around, and they don't pay them extra, and they really have no advancement prospects.
Yeah, it's also like most blue vests sometimes do the work of PAs, but they never get the PA position.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then like their opportunities to move up are there in the warehouse, then they have to be forced to move to another warehouse in the hopes that they could get paid and get promoted.
Yeah, I definitely think that, workers that want to, let's say move up, but what does moving up really mean? Workers that want to get paid more, that care about, the safety of their coworkers. These aren't bad things. These are things that, we all come to work to get paid. And we all, I hope, at least most of us care about the safety of our coworkers and think that safety is important, But Amazon co-ops these natural desires and these natural feelings that workers have and feeds it back into their system and creates false divisions between coworkers, as if only the person with the green safety vest cares about the safety of their coworkers. In reality, going back to what we were saying before, the way to really address safety, to really get paid, is not to try and differentiate yourself from your coworkers, but for us all to come together and understand that we're all here for the same reasons. We all want the same things. And it's a matter of getting that out of Amazon.
Yeah, they kind of try to impose this Squid Game on us, right? Where we're all competing with each other to get ours, but really by working together, we get what we all deserve. Dylan, have you ever noticed how people always like sort of newer people kind of blame blue vests a lot for like coming in, bossing them around and moving them around? And it's like,
that's not even the blue vest fault.
I know exactly.
As a former blue vest, we get told who to audit.
Yeah, and you don't really have a choice, right?
We have to do those audits.
But like this is kind of what they do is if the person coming and auditing you or coming and moving you around to like a different spot where you have to do more like shitty work is a blue vest, you're going to be like, oh, these damn blue vests. But really it's Amazon who is like requiring the blue vests to do that, to do the dirty work. It's similar with the green vest. Like most green vests, they apply for that position. Number one, because, they're trying to develop their career, but also they care about safety and they want to keep the workplace safe. But then Amazon's like, okay, go report any safety violations you see your coworkers doing. But they don't want those green vests to report safety violations that management is doing. I mean, I've had green vests call me out for like putting my foot on, like kind of leaning against a wall and putting my foot on sort of the leg of the belt. And that green vest comes up to me and is like, you can't do that. If you do that, you're going to have a conversation with management. And then after a shift, he came up to me and he apologized. He's like, I'm sorry. I know that was bullshit. I know you weren't doing anything unsafe, but they told me I had to come and talk to you.
If that's the case, then why doesn't the manager come and talk to you themselves?
Exactly. Because then I blame the manager instead of the green vest. These divisions it creates between us are fake.
It's really great talking about this with y'all, and see you on the shop floor.
I'm Ira.
I'm Dylan. Thank you for joining us today. Hope that this has reached a bunch of you.
Yep. And hit us up next time.